Well, welcome everybody to our first ever CalSense and Science live report. And I'm Cody Sankey, and I'm joined here today by Brad Johnson, our Director of Beef Genetics, and we have Chad Ellingson from Ellingson Angus Ranch there in North Dakota. And we're going to kind of give a deep dive into some Gen X bulls that Ellingsons have and talk a little bit more about our CalSense and Science philosophy and how it applies at Ellingsons. And Chad, why don't you tell us a little bit about what your family does and kind of your operation there in North Dakota?
Well, thank you, Cody, and thank you, Brad, for having me as part of the first Gen X Live. A little bit about our program here at Ellingson Angus. It's a family-run registered program. We market about 350 bulls a year. In our annual production sale, we usually market about 300 bulls in our annual production sale the first week of February each year. Also private treaty about another 50 to 75 bulls a year. It's totally a registered Angus operation, along with running some commercial Angus cows, mainly utilized for recips. We'll calve about 900 females a year, mostly spring calving cows. We do some fall calving of about 150 cows also in the fall, just for some producing of some long age bulls. I guess our emphasis here at Ellingson Angus is to produce functional high performance cattle for our commercial bull customers. Most of our bull customers are, in the Midwest, in the Dakotas, Montana, Iowa, Nebraska. That would be the highest concentration of our customers. Most of those are cow-calf producers that focus on producing pounds of calf at weaning time, but then also going on to produce performance in the feed lot, while also balancing that with producing, females that they can utilize back on their ranch to be functional, productive females with some longevity, some fertility. So it's really a balancing act of what we try to produce here at Ellingson Angus from a genetic standpoint, along with producing Angus genetics for our bull customers. We focus a lot on working with our commercial cow-calf producers as far as marketing cattle, marketing feeder cattle, marketing replacement heifers. So we get a inside view snapshot of what happens with our genetics, not only here at our ranch level, but also at the commercial ranch level. You get to see firsthand basically how your genetics are working in the real world when you're going and sorting feeder cattle, when you're sorting replacement females. So I think that's been our biggest asset of here in our own program, of really seeing firsthand what our genetics are doing in the real world.
Chad, you have a unique program that you use with top Herefords that you develop commercial replacement females for your customers. Why don't you talk a little about that and tell us how that works?
Okay, and we've been doing that for a number of years with the Top family, Ryan and Prairie Top. Basically, of course, they're marketing Hereford genetics. Their primary focus at Top Herefords is to produce our market Hereford bulls to customers that have Angus cows primarily, because their end result is to produce black baldy, either females or feeder steers. So, and they produced a very good market for their customers for black baldy females. But in order to do that, their customers need to have a source of good quality, solid Angus females to get for their replacement needs. So a number of years ago, Ryan came to us and we created a program. We purchased a lot of our customers that are heifer calves that are high percentage using Ellingson Angus bulls. We purchased a number of their high quality heifer calf replacements back. We breed those heifers, and we forward contract them to the Top bull customers, because they've come to rely on that as their Angus replacement needs, and then they can produce cattle that are truly F1 Angus Hereford cattle with known genetics behind them, the known Ellingson Angus and top Hereford genetics behind them, and that's created some demand also for their black baldy replacement females.
And Chad, speaking of partnerships, there's a long history with Ellingson Angus and Gen X, for that matter. So, most recently, a young bull out of your program called Rush that we'll talk about a little bit, but
right.
Also from the 2017 sale, the homegrown bull. Cody and I came out this summer and we did a really cool Facebook Live with the bull in pasture, bull that you're using really aggressively in your program still. Bull that sells very well for us and our customers. If you don't mind, give us a little bit about homegrown and what he's doing for you, and maybe give our viewers some insight into how to use that bull best, if you can.
Okay. Yeah, homegrown, I would classify him as a veteran bull now. He's gotten to that stage. I won't say he's a sleep all night surefire calving ease bull, but we've sure used him on hundreds of heifers here, and also I've known a lot of commercial customers that have utilized that bull in their commercial programs. So he's what I'd say usable on heifers, probably not sleep all night, like I said, but beyond that, he's got nice performance. He doesn't blow the doors off any of his performance data, but it's very respectable. But beyond the birth weight and the performance aspects of it, where the stage of life he is now, daughters are in production. They're very fertile, very structurally correct females. When you look at from a structural integrity standpoint, he ranks top 1% and 2% for his foot traits. So he is probably one of the best foot improver bulls that we've ever had around here at the ranch, or had the chance of utilizing even from an AI standpoint. So structural integrity, the daughters are very productive. They'll produce. They've already produced some of the top end bull calves in our operation. I know different commercial operations that have them in production. They sure like the fertility and the production level of those cattle. I mean, they're just good, solid, all around cattle. You look at his indexes. He ranks in the top 25th percentile on most of his indexes. So, and to put a little icing on the cake, he's a high carcass quality merit bull too. So, he really leaves no things undone. He covers all fields extremely well. And he's one other thing I would add about the bull is, we've sold many sons of homegrown. The fertility level and the libido in these cattle is tremendous. I mean, I think you guys seen firsthand homegrown when he come to stud as a yearling bull, extremely great semen producer. Probably one of the best semen production bulls that we've ever had come out of our program. And I think that's a good relationship to fertility. I mean, if the bulls can, anybody that's selling bulls, if you can produce sons that are highly fertile, that means a lot. I mean, if cattle, it's kind of one of them cowboy sense type of deals is with a little cow sense is you can have all the great genetics in the world. They can scan and perform, but if the bulls aren't fertile, they're not very good. So, the sons have been extremely fertile for us too. So he covers everything extremely well from all aspects. And we sure appreciate the daughters also he's leaving behind.
Yeah, I would add in on that. Homegrown would have been one of the very first bulls that I purchased when we started at Gen X. And if every bull that made semen like he does that has come since then, it'd make life pretty easy, because I would say in my tenure, I have yet to see a bull that produces semen and has the libido that this bull does. And if you go to Billings, where the bull's at, and talk to Jacob Holloway, the bull stud manager there, he'll tell you it's easy money with homegrown putting up semen. Sometimes it isn't like that. And the thing that it intrigued me about this bull is this summer when we saw him out on pasture running there with that big group of cows, maybe looked as good as he's ever looked in his life. And for a bull to get better with age, a lot of times you see stud bulls fall apart the older they get, feet, and can't handle the going home and breeding cows every summer and those kind of things. But for homegrown to hold up the way he has, Brad, I sure thought he looked good out there this summer.
Yeah, real good. Outstanding bull on a lot of different levels. And that kind of brings us, I'd say brings us to, the most recent bull too, which is the Rush bull that we bought out of this last sale at Ellingson Angus, one that could very well be one of the real sleepers of the selling season this year. Bull we're real excited about as a calving ease maternal option. But Chad, I got looking at his pedigree here in greater depth more recently, and there's just a whole lot of Gen X influence in that bull. He is a Rider Pride Advanced Plateau, but he combines Rough Rider, Bandwagon, Juno 797, Advanced 28, Plateau, really windy, 5175. There's a lot of history there, and some bulls that you have used in your program, obviously, but also some bulls that you used back in the day, or that you brought into Gen X a long time ago. So I guess maybe maybe getting off a little bit topic there with his pedigree, but talk to us a little bit about Rush and what he can do for us down the road to the newest bull from Ellingson Angus, Rush.
Yeah, I think really Rush, you hit the nail right on the head there. Rush is, if you looked at his pedigree, you'd say he's a Gen X bull through and through for multi-generations, and all kinds of highly proven bulls there, whether you go back to 5175, really windy, just a lot of really good maternal bulls. I mean, they left great daughters behind, and even his maternal grandsire, Copal Advance. I think a lot of people that have been through our program firsthand and reviewed the cows out on pasture, and maybe even beyond that, seeing the advanced daughters, what they produced in our bull sale. Advance is a great maternal bull also, and a bull that was once at Gen X. So from a maternal standpoint, I think this bull has endless potential. I mean, if you review the bull firsthand, the phenotype of the bull, you sure appreciate the softness of him, the middle, the girth, and so forth in him. He looks like he'll produce, the daughters that are easy doing. But at the same time, he's got a nice look to him. He's got that smooth laid-in shoulder. You guys did a tremendous job when I think you picked the bull, because phenotypically he's a great one. And I think when you go to stud now and see him firsthand, he's still got that great look to him. I think the bull has excellent potential for somebody wanting to produce replacement females. I think that's one of the great attributes of using AI is using bulls with this kind of lineage behind them. The females are quite likely going to be good, and I think that's where the bull's future reads. He's a double-digit CED bull with excellent performance potential also. But I'd say number one, in 4 years down the road, when guys are going to be calling to use a bull again, I'd say it's because of the daughters he's going to leave behind.
Yeah, I think back to that cold winter morning when we were out scouting those bulls, and you talked about his phenotype. He had such a striking presence out there in the pen. He looked like a herd bull. You walk up and down behind your sale barn, he kept catching our eye. And, the ability to combine that double-digit calving ease with that, still having that performance and that softness, he's a bull that we really look to fit into our program, both in a seed stock and a commercial relevant heifers, depending on where they go. But for guys that want to retain daughters, we hear so much all the time about the extremes and all this, but some, those females that last in their cow herd for years to come are the ones that make you a lot of money. And that bull with the cow power behind him, you go back even clear down there under 5175s, even the legendary EXT. So I mean that
right.
was stacked top to bottom, proven cows that have been in your program. And I'm excited for what he has to offer for us. Just a rookie coming in here this fall, got semen ready to go. He came in and made semen right away, took an awesome picture, a good bull to be around. And Brad, you were there this summer and saw him in Billings. I think he's got a bright future.
Yeah, he's a bull that you say he's got a presence, and that's a really good way to put it. I mean, he's a bull that just catches your eye, and you just want to follow that bull around and watch him move. He's really good on the move and really up-headed and good-looking bull. And we're pretty excited to have him, Chad. So,
yeah, we use the bull in our program. We sampled them aggressively here, and we also even sampled it in our commercial heifer development program. We had enough faith in the bull that we felt comfortable enough putting them into some commercial heifers. We think we surely believe that the bull will be a calving bull that one of those sleep all night kind of individuals that guys can calve without a lot of stress. So we think the bull has a tremendous amount of future to him, especially the guys that want to produce some functional replacement females that'll be productive and around for quite a while. I think that bull's, Rush probably fits the bill there as good as any.
Yeah, he was one that we're excited to add into our lineup here from this spring and go forward with him. And we're excited that you're using him. It says a lot about a bull. If a breeder doesn't use him, that probably send a red flag up. So to have your support on that bull is one that is certainly important. But kind of shifting gears a little bit, Brad and I got the opportunity to come to North Dakota this summer and sit down with you and go through the cow herd with your family and Stetson. And that's always a pleasure and one of our favorite stops of the year. This summer we were out touring the cows, and there was a set of young females that kept sticking out to us by a young Gen X sire that not necessarily young anymore, but those young females were out of him. It's Basin Rainmaker 4404, a good Gen X bull that you chose to weave into your program and use. Tell us a little about those females and maybe the sons and how he's worked in your program, because it looked like it's turned out pretty well.
Yeah, 4404 caught my eye a few years ago, seen him at the stud in Billings. I thought the structural integrity of that bull was really good. Thing that we put a lot of emphasis here at Ellingson Angus is his structural integrity, foot quality. I thought the bull had tremendous feet, has excellent heel depth. And so we chose to use that bull in our program here. We used him on our virgin heifers as a calving bull, and we got good results. The sons have sold extremely well for us. We've sold a couple sons that have highlighted a couple sales in the past, and the daughters that we've got in production now. They're making excellent young females. They're 2-year-old females. They're going to be weaning their first calf this fall. We sure appreciate the what I'd say ideal cow size to them. They're females that are probably about the right size. They've got enough go in them that they still got some performance, but they're sensibly enough size that they maintain themselves extremely well. Foot quality is really good. The docility on the cattle is excellent, and we sure appreciate the udder quality on them. Really nice teat placement. Teat size is ideal. We think they're about ideal kind of replacement cattle. So we sure appreciate the results that we've gotten from Rainmaker 4404.
Chad, on that sentiment, it looked like you mated him to a lot of Rough Rider daughters, another Gen X bull, maybe a little stouter bull. Is that how you think that bull best mates up?
Yeah, I would agree with that, Cody. I mean, where he worked the best was probably on, daughters of two different Gen X bulls, Rough Rider and Resource. Both of those we made that cross quite a bit. The Rough Rider combination with Rainmaker 44 was ideal. And like you say, the Rough Rider daughters, maybe just a little more horsepower, a little more mass in those cattle. And that combination was tremendous. I mean, a couple of our top tier bulls of the last couple of years has been that combination. So that's probably the best way to mate that bull and with the best results. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate that insight, Chad. I mean, that's a bull that our reps have really gravitated to here the last couple of years. You were early to find the bull, but he's really taken off nicely, and that's a bull that's going to leave some outstanding progeny in the country, registered and commercial likewise. So
yeah, I think he's one of those bulls, as we talked about, just like we talked about with homegrown, just one of those really nice balanced trait bulls. He doesn't blow you away in any trait, but usually those balanced trait bulls are the ones that leave the really good daughters behind and have the most long-lasting impact, for breeders and the breed alone. So I think he fits that bill very well.
Chad, you talked about, or Brad mentioned, you were an early adopter of 4404, another bull that we saw progeny out of, baby calves. And some real standouts that we thought that meshed well in your program was a bull called Sitz Barricade that you identified early and probably are ahead of most people in using that bull. What are you seeing? What drew you to him? How does he mesh into your program?
Yeah, we had a chance to see that bull firsthand year and a half ago. We sure appreciated Barry, just the amount of the mass and depth the bull possesses. When you watch Barricade walk out, he strides out with he's a wide stepping type of individual, and that's what we want to produce. Is our bull customers expect to get a combination of flashing ability from a cow standpoint, but high performance individuals, and Barricade looked like he'd be a bull. We kind of thought Barricade was a lot like the Rough Rider bull that we had with you guys, that deep, massive look, but still with a lot of performance. And that's why we chose to use Barricade. We've had good results. We're gonna wean the first calves of Barricade coming up here in the next couple of weeks, and the performance looks good. I mean, they have the same type of look that we saw in the bull. They're deep and capacious with a lot of performance. They're sensibly sized. Like I always say, they're big enough to perform, but they're not gigantic that they get big and hard doing. So we like the size of the cattle, and we're seeing nice things with the calves that we're gonna wean. We expect good things. On to yearling time, and we think the daughters will be productive type of females from what we can see in the bull so far.
Yeah, that size thing that you mentioned now, even more important for you guys this summer after you went through one of those once in a lifetime droughts. See, they have to be able to survive in all kinds of environment.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we've put a lot of emphasis on, some cow sense type of traits, that aren't always measured in an EPD, whether I guess foot quality is now measured in an EPD, but we put emphasis on that for a long time, udder quality, and then also breeding cattle with just a lot of girth and depth, because we've always felt that cattle that have that ability to consume some forage, they can maintain themselves a lot better than the narrow gutted type of individuals that just don't have that. One guy told me one time that it's just like a wood burning stove trying to heat your house. If you got a big wood burning stove and put a lot of wood in it, it can keep your house warm. And sometimes, like you said, last winter when you were at our production sale, we can get some pretty cold days, and we can get some pretty hot, droughty days in the summertime. So, if they can consume some low quality forage and they got the ability and the girth and the stomach capacity to do that, they can usually maintain themselves. So we've always thought that was pretty important to have that girth in them.
Chad, you mentioned, you talked about some CalSense, and that kind of leads us to our next topic is, this is a CalSense and Science live report. And most people know, but not everyone, that you were a Gen X employee for quite some time and procured bulls. And I always joke, maybe you're like the Peyton Manning of bull procurement, legendary, but now retired. They probably put you in a Hall of Fame somewhere around Gen X.
It's getting deep in here now, Cody. We better go on.
Shauna, we'll give you a gold jacket you can wear around. But
I'll be looking for
it. Yeah. You were part of, probably back in the day when they developed the slogan CalSense and Science, and we've maintained that because it's tried and true to our company and our program and the way we now select bulls, because we believe that's important, that the science side of things is not going away with genomics and weights and measures and all that, but you still have to have a CalSense side of the things that are immeasurable. You talked about reproduction, and I always say the most important trait in beef production is reproduction. And and you talked about some of the other things. And so give us some insight into your thoughts on CalSense and Science and how it meshes at Ellingson Angus, and even, how that fits with you.
Yeah, I was fortunate to be part of the Gen X beef team back when we phrased the slogan combining CalSense and Science. And why we did that, just give you a little history there. We always felt it was, we could read all the EPDs and look at all the performance data, but we always also felt it was quite important to go look at the cow, see the structural integrity of the cow behind the bulls that we were procuring, analyze the bulls themselves, from a foot quality standpoint and everything, because a lot of those things that you can't measure still come into play of having a productive animal. I applaud the American Angus Association now. Foot scores are being turned in, which are important, because I've always said that, I've never seen a cow that's out limping around the pasture that has bad feet. She can have all the growth genetics in the world, all the performance carcass quality genetics in the world, but a lot of times when they don't have that functionality, they never perform to their production capabilities. So I think it's that combination of CalSense and Science. When we utilize that concept, we can produce the best quality results, the best animals, because there's some of those traits that just aren't measured yet. Whether it be, udder quality, we're getting a little bit of insight on that now, but a very important trait. If we sell mostly all bulls to commercial cattlemen, and labor's in short supply on most commercial cattle ranches, and they want daughters out of bulls that produce, or those daughters have excellent udders. They don't have time to be helping calves nurse. And if a calf doesn't nurse early in life and get that first shot of colostrum, it's been recorded that statistically, those cattle have a lot higher chance of getting sick during the first up to weaning stage, or even more importantly, maybe, in the feedlot stage, just because of that lack of colostrum, and it could all be related to udder quality of a dam. So we think, those unmeasured traits, and that's why we put a lot of emphasis on, getting out into commercial cattle herds, seeing how our genetics are working firsthand, seeing what the results of those genetics are, and Sometimes it's, I won't say it, and I think that'd be for any producer, whether you're a seed stock producer in the AI world, whatever. Seeing those firsthand results are eye-opening. Sometimes they're not what you want to see, but they're the results you need to see in order to make the correct changes to move on with the right genetics. So, I think that's ultimately important, combining, and here we don't just, we take all the measurements, of performance measurements, ultrasound measurements. We genomic test all of our bulls and heifers. And we find those things are all important, but we also find it's very important to see firsthand these non-measurable traits of how cattle are working in the real world, whether it be the other traits, foot traits, the libido traits, the calf vigor traits, because that's another thing that we find important here. We sell bulls to cow calf producers that they range calve a lot of these cows. Those calves have to get up and nurse in order, if it's 0 degrees and snow coming down or sleet coming down, that's a what I'd say a cow sense trait that a lot of times isn't thought about. But if a calf doesn't get up and nurse, it never has the opportunity to express the 150 pounds of yearling growth EPD that it has, or the top 1 percentile IMF or marbling or ribeye EPDs that it has, if it never survives those first moments of life. So I think that combination, and I applaud Genix for still being on that track of combination of combining cow sense and science.
Well, Chad, I mean, we thank you for your work in the development of that mantra, and just rest assured that that's a philosophy we hold near and dear to this day. So that's we thank you for that. And I guess at this point, I mean, anything, we've got an open mic here, Chad. So anything else you want to give to our viewers as words of wisdom from Chad Ellingson, or anything else you want to add?
No, I just appreciate being on this first introduction of your Genix Live today, and having this time to have dialogue back and forth. Not only what we do at Ellingson Angus here, or what our bulls are and so forth, but just some thoughts of maybe how we all can help each other breed better cattle and have better results in the beef industry. I think that's what we all strive for. So, any questions you guys have, any questions any of the listeners out there may have, I'd sure be open to them.
Chad, you talk about working together. We're in a interesting time in beef production, and interesting world we're living in. Where do you see the next 5 years of the beef industry going for producers out there listening to us today?
Oh, I think it's exciting times, in the beef industry. You look at cattle numbers. Obviously, we've struggled in the Dakotas and Montana and the western side of the U.S. this year with drought conditions. But from the bad comes good. Cow numbers are going to be going down a little bit. With that declining cattle numbers, we're going to see higher prices. And when you look at beef demand worldwide, you look at the numbers out there, the exports that are going out of the United States right now. I think we're in very promising times in the beef industry. If you're in the cattle business, you got to be excited about the future. And there's opportunity. Obviously, there's always hurdles we got to get past. We're going to have to get past this drought as we go forward. Some of these places aren't going to have quite the cattle numbers, but I think there's going to be good demand for the cows and the calves that you've got. And I think we've did a good amount of progress in the beef industry in the last 10 years. When you look at people like eating beef. I'd seen a deal with one of the large packers the other day that they said, chicken's widely available, but beef is in great demand. I mean, people would rather have a steak than chicken fingers. So there's opportunity, and as people around the world eat beef, they get hooked on it. So we've just begun to tap. I think the world market. I think there's great opportunity, and one thing about raising high quality beef, which I think a lot of your customers focus on, a lot of the Gen X customers do. There's great demand for that high quality beef, and I think there's great potential going forward.
Well, that's good. And Chad, we do appreciate you joining us. And as we get ready to wrap up today, we're going to start a kind of a tradition here with our guests that you tell us your all-time favorite Gen X bull in the history of Gen X, and it goes way back. And Brad has like some collector hats even before it was Gen X. So you tell us who your favorite one is. If you can only pick one, who is it?
Boy, that's a tough one. Obviously, I've been this will date me back, but when I went to work for an AI stud right out of college, it was called 21st Century Genetics, old arm of Gen X. So I would have seen a few Gen X bulls in my time, and seen them, firsthand and personal. So I would say this is a very tough one for me, because you're putting me on the spot here.
Well,
maybe I need to
answer, Chad.
I really actually need to give you an answer, huh?
Well, we're going to hold your feet to the fire. That, or you can just make one up. But you got to. That's it. We can't have a politically correct answer. We want to know what Chad Ellingson's favorite is.
So I'm going to pick a bull that, and this is going to sound biased because we raised the bull here at Ellingson Angus. We think the bull that's did us the most good over the years, that's been a Gen X bull, has been Rough Rider. And the next time you guys come to visit our place, you'll see that we thought so much of the bull that we painted him on our new mural this week.
Awesome.
Gen X is well represented. Rough Riders, first thing you see pulling into our ranch. So we just think that bull probably from a customer satisfaction standpoint here at Ellingson Angus, the sons, they've never disappointed our customers. They've always been in high demand, and the daughters that we've got in the herd, they're the functional, long-lasting type. So we think there's bulls that are up and coming that might surpass them, and taking nothing away from there's a lot of bulls that I seen firsthand over the years, whether it be Traveler 004 or Upward, Game Day. I mean, there was many of those that deserve to be in high rankings because they've had a lasting impact on not only Gen X success, but the success of the beef industry, the Angus business. So there's, Gen X has had a lot of bulls that have had a lasting impact. So for me to just pick that one, I'm going to be a little biased maybe because we bred him here and we've got to see firsthand lots of sons, a lot of daughters, more than any other bull that we've ever utilized here. But there's been a lot of good Gen X bulls.
Well, and the good news is, even though he's gone on to graze the greener pastures, we do have some semen still available on Rough Riders. So
right,
maybe you were spurring the semen sales there, Chad.
Never thought of that.
Yeah, I never thought of that. Well, Chad, we thank you for joining us, and Brad and I can attest, anyone that comes to visit, it's a great time in St. Anthony, and you can take them into Rusty's, and you can
That's right.
have them a steak. one of Brad and I's all-time favorite places to eat in our journey. So if you go visit Ellingson Angus, make sure they take you to Rusty's for lunch, because
Yeah, I think Cody and Brad, you're on a first name basis at that restaurant, I think.
We're kind of regulars there. Yeah.
We spend enough time in North Dakota. We make our way through there. But,
that's right.
Well, Chad, thank you. And Brad, it's been a pleasure to have you on our first ever Gen X CalSense and Science Live report. And until next time, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys.